Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Against the Public for October 1st. Happy spooky season, my favorite time of year. I'm Dana Lane. Thanks for joining me. Today, we'll go through my top Major League Baseball playoffs free plays for Tuesday. Sounded very Jim Mora there, but we'll go through my top Major League Baseball playoff free plays. And after we finish, please go over to Pickdawgz.com. I'll have my premium Major League Baseball postseason selections locked and loaded. Remember, you can get all my postseason selections for one low price, just $129.99. Gives you every Major League Baseball play that I send out in the postseason right through the World Series. Over the last month, guys, everybody's been with me over the last month have absolutely smashed bookmakers in Major League Baseball. 58.1% winners, good for 1,113 units of profit. You can jump on any of those single plays as well, or my Major League Baseball 3-pack for just $49.99. Every 3-pack, every individual play always comes with our Pick Dawgz win guarantee. In addition, there's only one way to get every play that I release, and that's to simply become an all-access member, and you can do that over the next 30 days for less than $11 a day, the next 90 days for less than $10 a day, or better yet, just jump on that annual all-access pass that gives you every play I release for one low price. That means we'll take you all the way through Major League Baseball, all the way through the NFL, all the way through college football, the NHL, college basketball, NBA, right up to this point, this time next year. So make sure you get involved. Thank you to everybody who has so far. Okay, on to your free plays for Tuesday. Remember, these are probable pitchers, so please confirm before placing your wager, and in one of these cases we have no idea who's going to start, but we'll talk about that last. We'll start things off 2:32 Eastern time, 9:39, 9:40. Detroit Tigers against the Houston Astros. Astros minus $1.50, 6.5, under minus 19. Tarek Skubal against Framber Valdez. Okay, here we go. Welcome, first game of the Major League Baseball postseason. We've seen an incredible amount of big-time wagers come in on this game so far. In fact, we have 14 steam moves amongst all the properties and all the sites that we monitor. 14 steam moves in this game. That's the most that I've seen all season long. So let's break down where the big boys are putting their money. There's a reason that the number opened at a consensus minus $1.30. Now it sits at minus $1.50. Although there are some better numbers out there. Make sure that you shop, because we really don't want to go over that 150 mark. If we can keep it under, that would be great. But the consensus 150, so we'll use that. But there is better numbers. Of the 10 five-figure wagers that were being reported, only 2 are on the Detroit Tigers, with Sports Interaction out of Canada and Caesars out of Jersey taking the most action. As far as the totals are concerned, well, we've seen some movement in some spots. This game opened up at 6.5 at some properties or sites. Now we see 6s across the board for the most part. There's still a couple 6.5 at some books, but every major wager that I'm looking at so far, and again, that's changed right before my eyes here. Every major wager I'm looking at, we've seen or is on the under. So we've seen some movements with that. As I said, this game opened up at 6.5 in most spots. I'm basically waiting for these 6s to pop up everywhere, because that's the way that the juice is kind of rolling at this point. But you still can find some 6.5s out there. I hope that wasn't confusing. But for the most part, we're still going to use 6.5 because that's the consensus out there. But beware that the 6s might be coming. The Tigers have been terrific this year against the money line for bettors. I mean, probably no doubt one of the best teams in Major League Baseball against the money line. They're just one of 4 teams this year that have profited over 1,000 units, with Milwaukee, San Diego, and Cleveland being the other 3. Against the Astros, though, that was a completely different story. They lost 4 of the 6 games against Houston this year. Only their mark against Atlanta, which was 0-3, was worse than their head-to-head matchup against the Houston Astros. Houston has been a massive problem for Detroit, not only this year, but long-term as well. Houston has beaten Detroit in in 14 of their last 19 meetings and 31 out of their last 46. I'm going to take Houston here minus $1.50, but once again, make sure you shop for the better number. 5:30 Eastern Time, 9:41, 9:42. New York Mets against the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers minus $1.38, 7.5 under minus 15. Luis Severino against Freddie Peralta. I usually don't fall for the storyline or what the storyline, what time a plane lands, how late a team gets in, but I cannot help but to watch. And it was a great moment. The Mets got in. I know they're very, very happy. I couldn't help but to just watch their celebration in the locker room and just think to myself, how is this team playing tomorrow? Even with Severino, I mean, the guy that's pitching, you saw him celebrating, and then somebody, suggested, hey, don't forget, guys, we got a game tomorrow. I think it's very hard to come back from one extreme to the other, especially in baseball. And some other sports, like in the NHL, if there was a big matchup and there's a game the night after, I kind of go with the team that's had the big matchup because I expect them to continue that momentum and having back-to-back games or having a home and home. It's not that big of a deal, especially if we're talking about Eastern Conference team. But there's such a massive difference between, one day you're at home in New York City celebrating the fact that you're going to the postseason, and then the very next day you're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. I just don't know mentally how you do that. You could say, people would say, well, Severino's, probably on his way. He's going to get rested, this and that. Man, he was not on his way. He was in the middle of the clubhouse going nuts, and, good on him. But, man, it's going to be a tough turnaround. And we have seen, and I expected to see a little bit more, but we've only seen a couple steam moves on the Milwaukee Brewers so far. That was enough to push this number to $1.37 at some spots, but really not widespread movement as we saw in the Houston-Detroit matchup. There was no other team in the majors this year that was more profitable, as we said, than the Milwaukee Brewers. 1,699 units won, almost 400 more than the San Diego Padres. Over the last 2 years, only the Baltimore Orioles have been more profitable at 3,076 units won, which is only 199 more than the Milwaukee Brewers over the last couple of years. This season, Milwaukee's 5-1 against the Mets, 11-2 over the last 2 seasons, and 31-14 since 2017. As an underdog this year, the Mets are 29-37, 19-28 against teams 500 or better as an underdog. By the way, the Mets have won just 38% of their games as a road dog since 2009. 37.6% over the last 3 seasons, to give you a little bit more of a recent number, but still 37 rounded up to 38% over the last 3 years, 38% over since 2009. That's quite a trend, and I'm not going to go against that in this one. We're going to take Milwaukee minus $1.35. And then 8:30 Eastern Time, 9:43, 9:44, Atlanta Braves against the San Diego Padres. Padres minus $1.51, 7 under minus 17. Braves undecided with their starting pitching. We'll talk about that in a second. Michael King will go for the San Diego Padres. And it's funny that the Braves have not named a starter, but odds makers have no problem throwing a 7 up there. I'm like, okay, well, we're going to talk about who could start for the Braves and who would warrant a 7. I was thinking 7.5, maybe 8 at the most, or at the least, I should say, on this one. But and I suspected this, once they do name a starter, we might be seeing 6.5 to the under, or 6.5 with juice $1.25 to the over, because it's about, we're looking at $1.25 right now to the under on the 7. So that means that we might be going to 6.5 pretty soon. Even our daring friends at Heritage have failed to put up a number on this one, so it's going to be interesting. So according to the Braves beat writer Mark Bowman, Atlanta could throw Ian Anderson, that name from a couple of years ago, a tremendous amount of success. Bryce Elder, Smith Shawver is also an option, and we know that Chris Sale, certainly was not faking his back spasms yesterday, or he would have started this game. And really, there are drawbacks to each. And this is according to SB Nation. Anderson has not pitched with Atlanta since 2022. He missed last season with an injury. He spent all of 2024 in the minors, but this is a guy that was in the talk for Rookie of the Year in 2020, 2021. He has the most postseason experience of any of those starters. And he started 8 games here, 4-0 record, a 35 1/3 innings pitched, and allowed just 5 earned runs while striking out 40 batters. Now, I remember when he got called up, and it was a few years ago. In fact, I think he's from my part of the world in upstate New York, but he was tremendous when he got called up in the summertime and through the postseason, but really has fallen off since then. Elder was an all-star selection in 2023, made 10 starts with the Braves this season, struggled with a 6.5 ERA, gave up 11.6 hits per 9 innings, which is just too much. In his career, he's made 50 starts with Atlanta since debuting in 2022, made a single postseason start against the Philadelphia Phillies last season, allowed 6 earned runs in 2 2/3. And Smith-Shawver only made one start with Atlanta this season, no runs, 4 1/3 innings. He's made 5 starts for Atlanta made 5 starts in 2023, appeared in 1 postseason game, allowed 3 homers against the Phillies in 2 2/3 innings. I think Anderson probably makes the most sense in this matchup, but what has me concerned is the trap that the odds makers may have laid for us with this number. Although Michael King has been absolutely terrific this season, a 13-9 record, a 2.95 ERA, been really good down the stretch. But this number tells me that Anderson is going to get the start, because we would certainly see a 7.5, maybe an 8 with the other 2. So I'm thinking Anderson's going to stay here, or he's going to start here, but make sure that you go back and double check who's pitching. With me, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go under this 7. I think the odds makers are laying a red carpet for people to take the over. We're going to go the opposite way and take the under 7. So that does it for your Tuesday free plays. Please go to pickdawgz.com. Get involved with one of my many available packages, including my all-access pass that gives you every play that I release for one low price. Also tomorrow, first of the month, so get to pickdawgz.com. I will prorate all my season packages. So if they were a little bit too much, NFL package, college football, a little bit too much to start the season, go back there tomorrow, prorated all those prices, see if that's a little bit better for you. So here's your Tuesday free play recap. Houston minus $1.50, Milwaukee minus $1.35, and Atlanta, San Diego under 7 minus 17. So that does it for today's show. Thank you so much to everybody who continues to watch on a daily basis. I know it's tough, guys. I know we're minds not on football, but thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button. For Against the Public, I'm Dana Lane. All the best to you and your wagers on Tuesday.